The night was cold and strangely quiet. The kind of quiet that made even the softest sound feel loud. The small town slept peacefully under a cloudy sky. A thin layer of fog moved slowly through the empty streets, wrapping the houses like a ghostly blanket. Armin sat near his window, staring at the darkness outside. He had been restless all day, feeling something he could not explain. It was almost midnight, but he could not sleep. His room was dim, lit only by a weak yellow bulb that flickered every now and then. Suddenly, a low humming sound broke the silence. It was distant at first, almost like the rumble of an engine far away. Armin frowned, leaning closer to the window. The sound grew louder, vibrating through the air, through the walls, and deep into his bones. A strange uneasiness filled his chest. He whispered to himself, "What is that sound? It doesn't feel normal." Then he saw it. Far above the clouds, lights moved across the sky. Smooth, fast, and unnatural. They weren't like airplanes or helicopters. These lights danced in patterns, glowing in soft shades of blue and white, weaving through the night like living creatures. Armin's heart pounded. "I still remember that night," he would later say, his voice trembling. The night when the sky itself felt alive. The power in his house flickered, then went completely out. His room plunged into darkness. The humming grew into a deep, heavy vibration, like the growl of something enormous and alive. From outside came the sound of dogs barking wildly, followed by sudden, terrifying silence. Even the crickets stopped singing. The entire world felt like it was holding its breath. Armin ran to grab his phone, but the screen was dead. No signal, no light, nothing. It was as if all electronics had simply died. Fear tightened around his throat. This isn't normal. Something is very wrong. He stepped outside, barefoot on the cold concrete. The fog was thicker now, glowing faintly as if lit from within. The lights in the sky grew larger, closer. His neighbors' houses were dark too, their windows like black, empty eyes. The humming sound turned into a deep, rhythmic pulse, echoing through the ground. Thrum, thrum, thrum. With each pulse, Armin felt the air grow heavier, harder to breathe. Then he heard a whisper. It wasn't coming from outside. It wasn't even coming from his ears. It was inside his head. Primitive, weak, unprepared. Armin froze, his body trembling. Who said that?" he whispered aloud, his voice barely audible. The whisper returned, clearer this time. "Do not resist, human." Armin stumbled backward, clutching his head. "No, this can't be real," he muttered. Above him, the largest light began to descend. The clouds swirled violently, like a massive storm forming out of nowhere. A shape emerged, dark, metallic, and impossibly huge. It was not like any plane or machine he had ever seen. The edges of the object glowed faintly blue, casting eerie shadows across the foggy street. The ground trembled as the object hovered low above his neighborhood. The vibration was so strong, Armin dropped to his knees. Then, in a single burst of light, the entire area was bathed in an otherworldly glow. The fog lit up, turning everything into a surreal, dreamlike scene. Armin squinted, shielding his eyes. When the light dimmed slightly, he saw figures. Tall, thin silhouettes moved within the glow. Their limbs were long, their heads slightly elongated. They moved with a cold, mechanical grace, as if every motion was carefully calculated. Armin's breath caught in his throat. His heart pounded so hard it hurt. These aren't humans, he thought in terror. The figures didn't walk like people. They floated just slightly above the ground, silent and terrifying. He wanted to run, to scream, but his body wouldn't move. It was as if the air itself had trapped him. One of the creatures turned its head toward him. Even from a distance, Armin could see its cold, glowing eyes. They were not like any eyes he had ever seen before. No emotion, no mercy, only a terrifying intelligence. For a moment, it just stared at him. Then, in perfect English, it spoke. "Sleep, human." A wave of invisible force hit Armin like a crashing tide. His vision blurred, and the world spun. He tried to fight it, to stay awake, but his body collapsed against the cold ground. The last thing he saw before darkness swallowed him was a towering shadow of the alien ship, glowing faintly as it hovered above his town. And then, silence. Armin would not remember how long he was unconscious. But deep inside, even in that darkness, he felt one terrifying truth. The world had just changed forever. The night sky, once beautiful and distant, was no longer safe. Something had come to Earth, and it wasn't here in peace. Armin woke to a sharp, metallic smell that burned his nose. His eyes opened slowly, but the light was too bright, forcing him to squint. His head throbbed with pain, and his body felt heavy, like he had been asleep for days. When his vision cleared, he froze. He was lying on a cold metal table, his wrists and ankles strapped down by glowing restraints. The room around him was unlike anything he had ever seen. Walls of smooth silver, covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and move when he looked directly at them. Soft blue lights pulsed across the ceiling like a slow heartbeat. The air was unnaturally cold. Each breath Armin took left a faint mist in the air, and there was a low hum beneath it all, a sound so deep it felt like it was vibrating inside his chest. His voice shook as he whispered, where am I?" There was no answer, only the hum of the machines, and the sound of footsteps approaching. Armin turned his head sharply toward the noise. A tall, thin figure appeared through a sliding door at the far end of the room. Its body was long and pale, with limbs that bent in unsettling ways. It didn't walk like a human. Instead, it seemed to glide just above the floor, silent and smooth. Armin's breath caught in his throat. It was one of the creatures he had seen in the glowing fog. The alien stopped near a panel of glowing symbols. Its eyes, bright and emotionless, scanned over him like he was nothing more than an insect on a table. It pressed one of the lights, and a strange buzzing sound filled the room. Armin's heart pounded as panic surged through him. "Please, let me go. I don't know what you want," he yelled, struggling against the glowing restraints. But the alien didn't respond. It just tilted its head slightly, observing him with a strange curiosity, as though he were a puzzle it couldn't quite solve. Then a voice entered Armin's mind, cold and sharp. "You will not be harmed. Remain still." Armin gasped. You can talk? You're inside my head." His voice was trembling. He tried to think of a question, but the alien's thoughts were stronger, pushing into his mind. "Your language is inefficient," the voice said. "We communicate this way to save time." Armin's fear twisted into anger. "What do you want from me? Why are you here?" The alien didn't answer immediately. Instead, two more creatures entered the room, carrying sleek, floating devices that looked like scanners. They surrounded Armin, their long fingers brushing the air near his body, never actually touching him. The floating devices emitted beams of light that passed over him from head to toe. He felt naked and small, like an animal being inspected. Finally, the first alien spoke again, this time out loud. Its voice was smooth but completely emotionless. "Primitive species. Low threat. No unity. No danger." The words cut through Armin like a knife. His breath quickened, his chest rising and falling rapidly. "They think we're weak," he realized. "They think we're nothing." He gritted his teeth and shouted, "We're not weak. You don't know us." The alien didn't even glance at him. It turned to the others and spoke in a strange clicking language. Armin couldn't understand the words, but he could feel their meaning through the whispers in his mind. "The others will arrive soon. This planet will be easy to control." Armin's body went cold. No, this can't be happening," he whispered. He pulled hard against his restraints, but they wouldn't budge. The blue light seemed to tighten every time he struggled. Suddenly, the room shook violently. A loud, echoing alarm blared through the hallways, sharp and piercing. The glowing lights along the walls turned red. The three aliens froze for a moment, exchanging quick, urgent words in their strange language. Armin's heart raced. "What's happening?" he shouted, but no one answered. The shaking grew worse. A deep explosion rumbled somewhere nearby, sending a cloud of mist spilling into the room. For the first time, Armin saw fear flash across the aliens' faces. Their smooth, calm movements turned frantic. One alien hurried to a control panel, pressing symbols rapidly. Another raised a glowing rod toward the door, scanning for something. Armin realized something important. They weren't in control anymore. The humming sound he had heard before was now replaced with a higher-pitched, pulsing whine. It was the sound of battle. The first alien snapped its head toward Armin, its voice entering his mind again, sharper and angrier this time. "Stay still, human. Do not interfere." Armin glared at it, defiant. "Why should I? You think you can just come here and—" The alien didn't let him finish. It waved its long fingers, and a wave of energy surged through Armin's body, leaving him gasping in pain. Darkness began to creep into the edges of his vision. But before he passed out completely, the door to the room burst open, slamming into the wall with a metallic crash. Armin's blurry eyes widened. A new figure entered, similar to the other aliens, but wearing dark, heavy armor. Its glowing eyes burned brighter, and it moved with purpose, not calm calculation. The armored alien raised a strange weapon and fired. A brilliant flash of white light filled the room. When Armin's vision cleared, he saw the three scientists lying on the floor, unmoving. The armored alien turned toward him, speaking in a deep, urgent voice. "We don't have much time," it said. "Your world is in danger." Armin's heart pounded in his chest. Who are you?" he asked, barely able to speak. The alien stepped closer and began to unfasten Armin's restraints. "I am not your enemy, but if we don't act now, Earth will be lost forever." Before Armin could respond, another explosion rocked the ship louder than before. The armored alien leaned close and whispered, "Do you want to save your planet?" Armin, shaking but determined, nodded. "Yes." The alien placed a small, glowing device in his hand. "Then take this and follow me." The lights flickered wildly as the alarm grew louder, drowning out everything else. Armin didn't know what this device was, or if he could trust this stranger. But he did know one thing. His world depended on it. The narrow hallway was filled with smoke and flashing red lights. Armin stumbled forward, coughing, while the armored alien guided him quickly through the chaos. The alien ship shook violently beneath their feet, each tremor threatening to throw them off balance. Screams echoed in the distance, alien voices, sharp and strange, mixed with a deafening wail of alarms. Armin's mind was spinning. Only a few minutes ago, he had been strapped to a table, helpless and terrified. Now he was running for his life through an alien spaceship with a mysterious stranger who claimed to be his ally. He clutched the small, glowing device tightly in his hand, its warmth pulsing like a heartbeat. "Where are we going?" Armin shouted over the noise. "To the central control room," the armored alien replied, his deep voice steady but urgent. "There, you will see the truth. And you must see it, human, if you are to understand what is coming." They turned a corner and nearly collided with a group of tall, pale aliens, the same kind that had captured Armin. The armored alien didn't hesitate. He raised his weapon and fired 3 quick bursts of white energy. The attackers fell instantly, their bodies crumpling to the metallic floor. Armin's breath caught. You killed them." The alien glanced back at him, his glowing eyes narrowing. "They would have killed you without hesitation. Survival is all that matters now." Armin swallowed hard and kept moving. After several tense minutes, they reached a massive circular door. Strange symbols glowed across its surface, swirling like liquid light. The armored alien placed his palm against the door, and it opened with a hiss, revealing a vast, dimly lit chamber. Armin stepped inside, his eyes widening. The room was filled with floating holograms, maps of Earth, projections of cities, and countless alien symbols hovering in the air. At the center of it all was a towering pillar of light, pulsing like a living heart. The air here was colder, heavier, carrying a faint metallic taste. "This is incredible," Armin whispered. "What is this place?" The armored alien's voice was grave. "This is the mind of their invasion. The plans, the strategies, the truth behind why they have come to your world." He touched the panel on the pillar, and the hologram shifted. Now, Armin saw something terrifying. Countless alien fleets stretching far into the galaxy. Each glowing symbol represented a different world, and nearly all were marked with the same red insignia. They've done this before, Armin realized, his voice trembling. "Yes," the alien said, "many times. Yours is only the next planet in their path." Armin's knees weakened. Why Earth? Why us? The alien turned to him, his glowing eyes burning brighter. Because they believe you are weak, disorganized, primitive. They see your conflicts, your divisions, your wars, and they think you will fall easily, just like the others. Armin clenched his fists. Anger burned through his face. They are wrong, he said. We're not perfect, but we're stronger than they think. The alien tilted his head slightly, as if considering Armin's words. That is why I am here. There are some among my kind who believe the invaders underestimate you. We have seen something in humanity, a strength even they do not understand. Before Armin could respond, a series of images flashed across the central pillar. He saw Earth's major cities, each one marked with glowing red symbols. A calm, chilling alien voice filled the room. Phase 1. Subjugate population centers. Eliminate resistance. Harvest resources. Integration begins in 72 cycles. Armin's stomach twisted. Subjugate, eliminate, harvest. His voice cracked. They are not just here to control us. They are here to destroy us. The armored alien nodded grimly. They will enslave those they deem useful. The rest will not survive. Armin's heart raced. He thought of his family, his friends, his entire world. No, I can't let this happen. He turned to his alien ally, desperation in his eyes. You have to help us stop them. Tell me how to fight back. The alien reached into a compartment on his armor and retrieved a small silver cube. He pressed it into Armin's hands. This device contains their language, their systems, their weaknesses. With it, your people may have a chance. But you must get it to your leaders before the invasion begins. Armin stared at the cube, its surface shifting like liquid metal. But why me? Why not bring this to them yourself? The alien hesitated for a moment. His voice grew softer, almost regretful. Because they will never trust me. To them, I am only another invader. But you are one of them. They will listen to you. Armin's throat tightened. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on his shoulders. He didn't feel ready. He didn't feel brave, but he knew there was no one else. Suddenly, the ship shook violently, throwing Armin to the ground. Alarms blared again, louder than before. A cold, mechanical voice echoed through the chamber. Security breach detected. Containment protocol initiated. The armored alien's eyes widened. They know we're here. We must leave, now. As they raced toward the exit, Armin glanced back at the central pillar one last time. In that moment, he saw a new image appear, a massive alien fleet, larger than anything before, moving directly toward Earth. His blood ran cold. The invasion wasn't coming in weeks or months. It was coming now. Armin ran harder than he ever had in his life, clutching the cube tightly. He didn't know if humanity could win, but he knew one thing for certain. The aliens had made a terrible mistake by underestimating them. The alien ship shook violently, almost throwing Armin to the ground. Flashing red lights bathed the hallway in an eerie glow. The air was thick with smoke and the bitter smell of burning metal. Alarms blared, and a cold, robotic voice echoed through the corridors. Intruders detected. Lockdown initiated. The armored alien grabbed Armin's arm and pulled him forward. Run, human, he shouted. They are coming. If we don't leave now, we will be trapped. Armin's chest pounded. His mind raced with fear and confusion, but his legs moved on pure instinct. He clutched the silver cube tightly against his chest as they sprinted down the metallic hallway. Behind them, loud, clicking footsteps grew closer. The invaders were chasing them. The chase. Armin glanced over his shoulder and froze. A squad of tall, pale aliens appeared, their glowing eyes piercing through the smoke. Each carried sleek weapons that pulsed with blue energy. They are right behind us. Armin yelled. The armored alien didn't even look back. Keep moving, he growled, raising his own weapon and firing several bursts of white light. The corridor lit up with flashes of energy. Two of the pursuers fell, their bodies collapsing like broken puppets, but more kept coming. They reached a large circular door at the end of the hall. Strange glowing symbols danced across its surface. Armin panicked. It's locked. We're trapped. The alien pressed his armored palm against the door. The symbols shifted and glowed, slowly beginning to open. "Hold them off," he barked. Armin stared at him, shocked. "With what? I don't have a weapon." The alien turned and tossed him a small, metallic device. "Point and press the center. Do not hesitate." Armin fumbled with the weapon, his hands shaking. As the pale aliens charged closer, he aimed at the nearest one and pressed the center button. A beam of blue energy shot out, striking the alien in the chest. It screamed, a high-pitched, horrible sound, before collapsing to the ground. Armin's breath caught. I actually hit it." "No time to celebrate," the armored alien shouted. The door finally slid open, revealing a dark, open space beyond. "Go!" They rushed inside, and the door sealed shut behind them, cutting off the sound of their pursuers. Armin stumbled to a stop, gasping for air. The hangar. He looked around and realized they were inside a massive hangar bay. Strange ships floated silently, tethered by glowing cables. The walls curved high above them, and strange mist swirled along the floor. At the far end of the hangar, a small, triangular craft hummed softly. Its sleek, black surface shimmered like liquid. The armored alien pointed toward it. "That is our escape vessel." Armin followed, but his fear was growing. "Wait, if we escape, what happens to them?" He gestured toward the rest of the massive ship. "They'll just keep coming, won't they?" The alien's voice was heavy with regret. "Yes, this ship is only the beginning. A signal has already been sent to their fleet. But if you deliver the cube to your leaders, your species may still have a chance to fight back." Armin clutched the cube tighter. It felt like the weight of the entire world rested in his hands. "What if they don't believe me?" he asked, his voice trembling. "They will," the alien said firmly, "because they must." Before they could reach the escape craft, the hangar doors burst open. A loud, metallic roar filled the space as more invaders stormed in, their weapons glowing with deadly light. The alien pushed Armin toward the small ship. "Get inside. I will cover you." "No!" Armin shouted. "I can help you fight." "You have one task," the alien barked. "Survive? Humanity depends on you." Armin hesitated, his heart aching, but he obeyed. He ran to the triangular craft and climbed inside. The controls were completely alien, covered in strange glowing symbols. "I don't know how to fly this thing," he cried. The armored alien's voice echoed through a small communicator inside the ship. "Place the cube into the slot before you." Armin quickly slid the cube into a narrow opening near the control panel. The entire craft came alive, humming with power. Symbols shifted into English letters, and a calm voice spoke. "Pilot recognized. Manual control engaged." Armin's eyes widened. It understand me now." "Good," the alien said. "Now go. Fly." The escape. Armin gripped the controls as a hangar filled with enemy fire. Bolts of blue energy smashed into walls, shaking the small craft. The armored alien fought fiercely outside, striking down invaders with precise shots, but they were overwhelming him. "Take off. Now!" the alien roared. With a deep breath, Armin pulled the controls upward. The ship lifted off smoothly, hovering above the floor. A strange exhilaration rushed through him, mixed with terror. As he prepared to leave, he saw the armored alien surrounded by enemies. "No!" Armin shouted. He wanted to stay, to help, but the alien looked up at him and gave a single, firm nod. "Go," the alien said. "Save your world." Armin's throat tightened. Tears blurred his vision. Then he turned the ship sharply and sped toward the hangar exit. With a powerful burst of light, the small craft shot into the cold night sky. Back on Earth, Armin's ship tore through the clouds, leaving the alien mothership far behind. Below him, the familiar sight of his hometown appeared, but it no longer felt safe or peaceful. In the distance, strange lights flickered in the sky, signs that more alien ships were arriving. He activated the communicator. A holographic map appeared, highlighting a location deep in the mountains. The calm voice of the ship said, "Nearest human command facility detected." Armin wiped his tears and set his jaw with determination. He didn't know if the world was ready, but he had to try. The aliens thought humanity was weak. They were about to find out how wrong they were. As the small ship vanished into the night, the alien mothership burned behind him, and a single, chilling thought filled Armin's mind. This is only the beginning. The night sky was quiet again, but Armin felt no peace. As the small alien craft sped through the clouds, he stared down at the dark landscape below. Cities twinkled in the distance, looking calm and unaware. No one knew the danger that was racing toward them. Armin's hands trembled on the controls. His mind was a storm of fear and determination. The glowing cube sat in a slot near the control panel, its surface shifting like liquid metal. It pulsed with a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. The calm voice of the ship's AI spoke again. Nearest secure human facility located. Coordinates locked. Armin exhaled shakily. Please, let someone believe me, he whispered. The hidden base. After nearly an hour of flying, the ship descended into a remote mountain range. Thick fog covered the peaks, and a narrow valley stretched below like a deep scar in the earth. Suddenly, a bright spotlight pierced the darkness and scanned the small craft. A stern human voice crackled through the communicator. Unidentified vessel. Land immediately or you will be fired upon. Armin's heart jumped. No, wait. I'm human, he shouted. I'm not your enemy. I have something important, something you need to see. There was a tense silence. Then the voice replied, cold and skeptical. Land now. The small craft descended smoothly into a hidden landing area carved into the side of the mountain. Dozens of armed soldiers surrounded it instantly, their rifles aimed directly at the cockpit. Armin hesitated, then slowly raised his hands as he stepped out of the ship. The soldiers stared at him in shock. Is just a kid, one of them muttered. I'm not just a kid, Armin said, his voice trembling but steady. I saw them. The aliens. They are coming. The soldiers exchanged uneasy looks. Their commander, a tall, grim-faced woman, stepped forward. Aliens? You expect us to believe that? Armin's chest tightened. He reached into the cockpit and carefully lifted the glowing cube. This isn't a story, he said. This is proof. The moment the cube came into view, the soldiers flinched. The commander's eyes narrowed. What is that thing? It's their technology, Armin explained quickly. It has their plans, their language, their weaknesses. If you don't believe me, plug it into your systems. The commander studied him for a moment, then gave a sharp nod. Take it to the lab, she ordered, revealing the truth. Inside the base, the atmosphere was tense. Armin followed the commander through cold, metallic hallways filled with screens and armed guards. When they reached the command center, a group of scientists carefully inserted the cube into a secure terminal. At first, the screen flickered with strange alien symbols. Then, to everyone's shock, the symbols shifted into English. Gasps filled the room. Lines of data scrolled across the screen. Maps of Earth, timelines, invasion plans. The lead scientist turned pale. My God, it's real. Armin stepped forward, his voice urgent. They are coming. They've done this to other worlds, and now it's our turn. They think we're weak. They think we'll fall easily. The commander clenched her fists. How much time do we have? The scientist swallowed hard. According to this, their main fleet will reach Earth in less than 72 hours. The room fell silent. The weight of those words pressed down on everyone like a heavy storm cloud. Armin's voice shook, but he forced himself to speak. We have to fight back. If we don't, they'll enslave us, or worse. The commander turned to him sharply. And why are you helping us? How do we know you're not one of them? Armin's throat tightened. He thought of the armored alien who had saved him, of the sacrifice made in that hangar. Because someone believed in us, he said softly. Someone who wasn't even human. They risked everything to give me this. His words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Humanity's plan. The commander finally nodded. All right, if what you're saying is true, we need to act fast. She turned to her officers. Alert every major government. We need to unite. No borders, no rivalries. Humanity fights as one. Her voice rang with power, but Armin could see the fear in her eyes. They were about to face something far beyond anything humans had ever fought before. The scientists continued analyzing the cube. Suddenly, one of them gasped. Look at this. Their technology runs on a central network. If we can disrupt it, their entire fleet could be blinded. Armin's eyes widened. That's it. That's how we fight them. We use their own tech against them. The commander slammed her fist on the table. Then we prepare. Weapons, defenses, everything. The world needs to know what's coming. Armin felt a flicker of hope. For the first time, humanity wasn't divided. They were coming together against a common enemy. The warning. Moments later, a series of alarms blared through the base. A soldier ran into the room, pale and breathless. Commander, we've detected multiple unidentified objects entering the atmosphere. Everyone rushed to the main screen. Blurry images appeared, dozens of glowing shapes descending through the clouds. Armin's stomach dropped. They're here already. The commander's voice was steady, but her eyes burned with determination. Then we meet them head on. She turned to Armin. You started this fight, kid. Now, you're part of it. Armin nodded. His fear hadn't disappeared, but something stronger had replaced it. Resolve. They underestimated us, he said quietly. They're about to see what humans are really capable of. As the first alien ships pierced through the night sky, humanity stood at the edge of its greatest battle. The war for Earth had begun. The night sky burned with fire. Dozens of alien ships descended through clouds, glowing like falling stars. Their smooth, black surfaces shimmered as they spread across the horizon. Sirens wailed across cities. Searchlights pierced the darkness, reflecting off the alien vessels. From the hidden mountain base, Armin stood on a high observation deck, staring in awe and terror. The invasion wasn't just coming in anymore, it was here. The commander stood beside him, her face grim. They're hitting every major city at once, she said. We can't save them all. We have to focus on their fleet's control ship. Armin's hands tightened around the silver cube. That's a mothership, he said. If we destroy its network, the others will lose coordination. The commander nodded sharply. And you're the only one who understands that tech well enough to pull this off. Armin swallowed hard. His heart pounded in his chest. He was just an ordinary young man a few days ago. Now, the fate of the world rested on his shoulders. The battle begins. The base shook as alien weapons struck distant mountains. Explosions lit up the horizon in orange and red. Soldiers rushed to their stations. Drones lifted off from underground hangars, forming a swarm of buzzer machines ready for combat. Rows of human fighter jets roared into the sky, their engines screaming. The commander grabbed a microphone. This is it. Today, we fight for our planet. Today, we show them that humanity will not bow. Her voice echoed through the base, filling soldiers with courage. A loud cheer followed, but it was quickly drowned out by another massive explosion. Armin watched as alien ships clash with human forces. The aliens moved with perfect precision, their formations shifting like a single organism. Human pilots fought bravely, but many were shot down in bursts of blinding blue light. They are too strong, one soldier shouted. We can't hold them. Armin stepped forward, determination burning in his eyes. We don't need to beat them everywhere. Just give me a path to the mothership. If I plant the virus inside their system, the others will fall apart. The commander looked at him for a moment, then nodded. All right, you'll have your path. The mission. Minutes later, Armin boarded a sleek, heavily modified human jet. The silver cube was secured inside the cockpit, glowing faintly. Two experienced pilots sat beside him, ready to escort him through enemy defenses. The radio crackled as the commander's voice came through. Armin, listen carefully. Once you're inside the mothership, you'll have less than 10 minutes to upload the virus. After that, the ship will self-destruct. Armin's breath caught. Wait! Self-destruct. It's the only way to make sure they don't regroup, she said firmly. You'll have to escape before the countdown ends. Armin closed his eyes for a moment, steadying his fear. I understand. The jet roared down the runway and lifted into the sky. Immediately, alien fighters swarmed toward them. Blue energy blasts streaked past, shaking the jet violently. Stay close. One pilot shouted over the radio. Armin gripped his seat as they weaved through the chaos. Explosions bloomed around them, blinding flashes lighting up the clouds. Below, he saw glimpses of burning cities, skyscrapers collapsing, streets in ruins. His heart ached, but he forced himself to focus. He couldn't save everyone. Not yet. But if this mission succeeded, he could save millions. Boarding the mothership. The alien mothership loomed ahead, a colossal shape that blotted out the stars. Its surface pulsed with blue veins of light, like a living creature. Cutting through their defenses now, one pilot yelled. They fired a volley of missiles, creating a brief opening. Go, Armin, the commander's voice urged. This is your chance. With a deep breath, Armin activated the alien tech on his ship. The silver cube glowed brightly, projecting strange symbols across the cockpit. The mothership's defenses flickered and then opened. The jet slipped through a narrow entrance just as the portal closed behind them. Inside, the air was filled with a low hum. Massive corridors stretched out like the veins of some monstrous creature. All right, Armin whispered to himself. Time to end this. Inside the beast, Armin moved carefully through the alien halls, guided by the cube's pulsing light. The walls were smooth and cold, glowing faintly with blue patterns. Occasionally, he heard the distant sound of alien footsteps echoing through the corridors. As he reached the central chamber, his breath caught. The room was vast, with a towering core of energy rising in the center. Streams of data flowed through the air like rivers of light. This is it, he whispered. He placed the cube into a slot at the base of the core. Instantly, alien symbols filled the room, spinning faster and faster. The calm voice of the cube spoke. Virus upload in progress. Estimated time, 5 minutes. Armin exhaled shakily. Okay, just hold together for 5 minutes. Suddenly, a loud, guttural voice echoed through the chamber. You dare defile our core, human. Armin spun around, his blood running cold. The alien commander stood before him, a towering figure with sharp, armored limbs and eyes that burned like twin suns. You are nothing, the commander hissed. Your kind are insects to be crushed. Armin's fear almost overwhelmed him, but he forced himself to stand tall. No, he said, his voice steady. You never understood us, and that's why you're going to lose. The alien commander roared and charged. Armin barely dove aside in time as a massive claw slammed into the ground where he had been standing. The countdown. The cube's voice echoed urgently. Upload complete. Self-destruct sequence activated. Countdown, 3 minutes. Armin's eyes widened. He sprinted for the exit, dodging the alien commander's attacks. The entire ship shook violently as alarms blared. Outside, human pilots heard the news through the radio. The virus is in. The mothership is destabilizing. Across the battlefield, alien ships suddenly faltered. Their perfect formations crumbled, and human forces surged forward with renewed strength. Escape. Armin reached his jet and strapped in as quickly as he could. The countdown blared in his ears. 2 minutes, 1 minute. He launched the jet through the corridors, barely dodging collapsing structures. The portal ahead flickered open, and with one final burst of speed, he blasted into open sky. Behind him, the alien mothership glowed brighter and brighter. Then it exploded, lighting up the night like a second sun. Armin shielded his eyes as a shockwave rattled his jet. When he finally looked back, all that remained was a burning cloud of debris. Cheers erupted over the radio. Their fleet is falling apart. We're winning. Armin slumped in his seat, exhausted but alive. For the first time, hope filled his heart. But deep down, he knew this wasn't over. The galaxy had just learned the name of Earth, and others might come. As dawn broke over the battlefield, humanity stood united, and in the quiet of his cockpit, Armin whispered, They underestimated us. Never again. The first light of dawn spilled across the battlefield. The world was quiet again, but it was not the peaceful quiet of safety. It was a heavy, breathless silence that comes after unimaginable chaos. The alien mothership was gone, reduced to a burning field of debris scattered across the sky. Human cities still smoked on the horizon, many of them half destroyed. Countless lives had been lost, but for the first time in history, humanity had won a battle against an interstellar enemy. Armin stood on the remains of collapsed rooftop, his body trembling with exhaustion. His jet was wrecked behind him, its wings scorched black. The silver cube, the very tool that had saved humanity, lay cracked and dark at his feet. He stared at the rising sun, his eyes stinging with tears. They had done it. Against all odds, they had survived. But as a cheering of human soldiers echoed in the distance, a strange emptiness filled his chest. The victory felt fragile, almost unreal. The price of victory. The commander approached, her uniform torn and blooded. Her face was streaked with soot, but her posture was as strong as ever. "You made it," she said, relief softening her usual stern voice. "I wasn't sure you'd come back." Armin gave a tired, bitter laugh. "I wasn't sure either." He looked out over the battlefield. The ground was littered with the remains of alien machines and fallen human soldiers. Fires burned across what had once been forests and towns. "How many did we lose?" he asked quietly. The commander's jaw tightened. "Too many," she admitted. "Entire cities were destroyed. But if you hadn't uploaded that virus, none of us would be standing here." Armin's chest tightened with guilt. "I keep thinking about the people I couldn't save," he whispered. "The ones I saw when I flew over the cities, the screams, the—" The commander placed a firm hand on his shoulder. "You gave us a chance to fight another day. Don't forget that." A world united. Hours later, the world's leaders gathered at the rebuilt command center. Large screens showed images of people celebrating in the streets. Nations that had once been enemies now stood side by side, united by the war they had fought together. The commander addressed the room, her voice clear and strong. "Humanity stood on the edge of extinction," she declared. "But thanks to the courage of our soldiers and one young man, we are still here." Armin shifted uncomfortably as dozens of eyes turned toward him. He wasn't used to being a symbol. He hadn't done this for glory. "I just did what I had to do," he said quietly. But deep inside, he knew this victory had changed the world forever. Earth was no longer a small, quiet planet. It had announced itself to the galaxy with fire and defiance. The warning. As the meeting ended, one of the scientists rushed into the room, pale and shaking. He held the cracked silver cube in trembling hands. "Commander, Armin," he gasped, "you need to see this." The cube flickered weakly to life, projecting a distorted hologram. Alien symbols appeared, then slowly shifted into English. The scientist's voice quivered. This wasn't just a control device. It's also a communications beacon. Armin's stomach dropped. "A beacon? You mean it sent a signal?" The hologram stabilized, showing a terrifying map of distant star systems. Hundreds of red lights pulsed across the galaxy. The scientist pointed to the largest cluster of lights. "While you were uploading the virus, the cube was transmitting data. It didn't just shut down their fleet, it alerted their entire empire." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the hologram in horror. Armin's voice was barely a whisper. "So this wasn't their whole force." The scientist shook his head. "No. What we fought here was just a scouting legion. Their true armada is out there, and now they know Earth exists." The shadow approaches. Armin's knees nearly gave out. All this pain, all this sacrifice, and it had only been the beginning. The commander slammed her fist against the table. "Damn it! How long before they arrive?" The scientist's face turned pale. "If their ships travel at the same speed as the ones we fought today, maybe a few months. Maybe less." The room erupted into chaos as officers shouted and leaders argued. Some wanted to hide. Others wanted to strike first. Armin stood in the center of it all, frozen. He remembered the alien commander's last words. "Your kind, our insect, to be crushed." But now, he understood something deeper. They hadn't come to conquer just Earth. They saw humanity as a threat, a species that could rise too quickly if left unchecked. He clenched his fists, anger burning through his fear. "They underestimated us once," he said, his voice rising above the noise. "They won't make that mistake again. We'll be ready." The commander turned to him, her eyes fierce. "Then we start preparing now. Every nation, every scientist, every soldier, we fight as one." The final twist. As the meeting ended, Armin wandered outside alone. The night sky was calm again, filled with countless stars. But now, he didn't see beauty. He saw danger. Suddenly, the cube flickered once more in his hand. A final message appeared, one that made his blood run cold. Primary directive update. Target species, humanity. Status, hostile. Full extermination authorized. Armin stared at the message, his heart pounding. This wasn't just a war for survival anymore. It was a war for existence. He whispered into the night, his voice trembling but filled with resolve. Let them come. This is our home, and we will never kneel. As he turned back toward the base, the camera of the world's imagination pulled upward, revealing the vast galaxy beyond. And, far away, the faint, ominous glimmer of countless alien warships already on their way.